Back for the final segment of the SI Sooners podcast. And of course, it's time for our weekly segment with the Groves brothers. We call it the Groves Bros. I want to welcome in one more time Tanner and Jacob. Tanner and Jacob Groves join the SI Sooners podcast exclusively every Wednesday, thanks to our good friends at Trade Pros. If you need service or maintenance, or you've just got questions about your heating and air, just call Trade Pros. Their number is 405-639-9991. Go see Caleb. Go see Carrie. Those guys are big sports fans, big supporters of college athletics. And you know what? They grew up right here playing sports in Oklahoma. So go check them out. Tanner, Jacob, your first season as basketball players at the University of Oklahoma, your first season as Sooners, didn't go like everyone planned, like everyone had hoped. The season ended on Sunday night at Lloyd Noble Center, 70-68 loss to St. Bonaventure in the second round of the NIT. But 2 nights later, you guys see the Bonnies go to Virginia, their third straight road game, and they win that one too, 52-51 at UVA. Those guys are going back to New York, where they're from. They're going to play in the NIT Final Four. I think they're an extremely underrated, underseeded team. But let's talk about you guys. 19-16 overall. You started the season 8-1. You beat Arkansas and Tulsa. A lot of highlights to this season. A lot of good, memorable moments, I would think, for both of you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think that regardless of the last game, I think that overall, this was a pretty good first season, successful season. We had some great wins, like you just said, and some bad losses, but it was just the ups and downs of our first year in the Big 12, and it was expected. And so, looking back on it, it was an awesome experience, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting my last year of college basketball in next season here, and I'm excited to I'm excited for the future because I know that it's really hard to put together a team like we had, especially, I think that it's common nowadays with the transfer portal to have a team and, have guys leave and bring new guys in. But usually you'll have a core group of guys with the same coach at a college team. And this year it was different because, obviously they had the core group that stayed here, but brought in a whole new coach, a whole new staff, and then had to pick players from the portal. And so that's kind of where a lot of the difficulties came from. But I think that we were able to, come together as a team multiple times during the season and, prove that we were a really good team. And it was a lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to, bringing back a lot of the core group that we have here and getting some good pieces in the portal and some good freshmen coming in, and I think that next year there's no doubt in my mind that we'll be an NCAA tournament team. But just looking back on this year, it was a great experience, and I loved it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's cool to see because I think this year is just something that is kind of a foundation, something that we just will continue to build off of. It's like Tanner said. I mean, it's difficult for a coach to come in and try and bring his culture in and get all the guys to buy into that. And so I think, towards the end of the season, we were playing some of our best basketball of the year. And so it's like, it's good because the guys are starting to buy in and everything, but it sucks that, obviously your season comes to an end just like that. And so, I think everybody's got their hopes set on next year and obviously our eyes on that NCAA tournament. And, we're just going to hopefully have a good off season. Like Tanner said, I mean, we're going to return a core group of guys, which will be good, who still has eligibility left. And we're just going to kind of keep building on that. I mean, now it'll be good because we've been under Coach Moser for a year and we know exactly his expectations. And, we're starting to adapt and be able to, help out the freshmen that are coming in with everything that he does and what to expect. And so, it's going to be good. We have a couple weeks off here, but we're excited to get back and start some spring workouts and we're excited to really get, our freshmen on campus, this summer. And then hopefully, if we do have to pick up some guys from the transfer portal, then we'll get them on campus as soon as possible as well. And just start working together with our team, and in preparation for hopefully a really good year next year.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun season. Really look forward to seeing how you guys, obviously, but then the whole team looks next year with real off season and all that good stuff. we'll ask you about the offseason ahead in just a little bit. But first, I want to ask you, Jake, you just said it, the next 2 weeks, you guys, you have a couple weeks off. What do these weeks look like for you guys? Do you even pick up a basketball, or do you completely unplug from it? What's kind of like the usual routine for you guys right when the season ends here, these next couple weeks?
Yeah, it's hard because obviously we've been playing basketball since what, October? I
Right.
mean, is when the very end of October was our first scrimmage, and so we've been playing basketball for the last 6 months, just getting beat up every single day, practicing every single day, and so um, it's taken obviously it's taken its toll on our bodies, and so we're pretty beat up and pretty sore, and so um, I think it's important, that everyone kind of does it to take a couple days off, but um, it sucks losing like that when you don't go out on top because you still kind of have that little fire in your belly where like I need to get in the gym, I need to keep a basketball in my hand, I need to stay in shape and make sure my shot's right, and so that's kind of something that I've been doing recently is just getting in and already starting the process with our strength coach and just continuing to like lift and whether it's just upper body or a little arm farm is what we call it or riding the bike or whatever just kind of getting back into the weights grind and what that's going to look like, and then usually I'll do some just light shooting, but I think it's important, just to kind of take some time and especially just, get away from basketball. Now that the weather's nice here in
Right.
Norman, we'll hopefully be able to get out and play a couple rounds of golf here in the next 4 or 5 days. I think this weekend's supposed to be like 75. And so looking forward to that. Hopefully we can make that happen and then, just have some fun, just enjoy the people that are around us and just, kind of have fun and take some time away from basketball before we get going this spring.
Yeah, for me, I think I agree with Jake. I think that a big piece of just kind of building for next season is just taking a little bit of time to yourself and reflect on the season and kind of put forth a list of goals that you got that I have for myself in the off season and for next season and so I definitely right after the game the next day I definitely took the whole day off and just kind of chilled and relaxed. And then yesterday I was back in the gym, and today I was back in the gym this morning. And so I think for me, especially being an older guy, being a senior, and this is going to be my last go around. I think for me, I have more of like a sense of urgency. Just that feeling inside my stomach that I got to get something done. I got to prepare myself for for these spring workouts that we're going to have here coming up, and for the summer workouts, and ultimately for the season next year, because at the end of the day our goal is to make the national, or is to make the NCAA tournament and advance. That's the ultimate goal. And so for me, it's like I just have this feeling in my stomach, like a sense of urgency that I gotta get stuff done. And so I'll probably take some days here and there to where I don't do much, or I'll just be hanging out. But I'm gonna still be working out. I'll still be making sure I stay in shape, running a little bit, and hitting the weights, and keeping a ball in my hand almost every single day. And so that's going to be kind of big for me in the next 2 weeks, and once we get going here with spring workouts. But I'd say outside of basketball, that only takes up a couple hours of my day. I'm definitely gonna. I'm actually flying home later today, and so I'm looking forward to getting back into Spokane, Washington. It's gonna be a little bit colder there, but
Hmm.
gonna enjoy some family time and get to watch my little brother play some hoops. I'm really excited to watch that. He just sent me a video. He's in eighth grade, but he just sent me a video. He said he got his first dunk, so I'm excited to see if that's actually true or not.
Oh,
We'll see.
eighth grade.
Looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just hanging out with my parents, my little brother, my dog, and just unwinding, having a good time. Maybe get a couple rounds of golf in, hang out with my friends back home. But that's kind of what the next 2 weeks will look like for me.
Tanner, before I get to my next question, I wanted to ask a quick follow up. You mentioned goals that you want to write down. Anything you'd like to share in terms of your goals?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I think from coming from Eastern Washington, it was kind of like I eventually got to that point where I was kind of like a big fish in a small pond, and so now right here I'm kind of like I don't know how you describe it. I was coming in as one of the top transfers in the portal, and I had I had a pretty good season, I think, especially for my first season in the Big 12. But I got some bigger goals in mind. I want to play basketball after college, and so I want to be able to compete at this level night in and night out. I think that there were definitely some games this season where I didn't do what I wanted to do, and there were some games where I did a lot of good things. And so for me, I think that one of my main goals is to I need to get bigger, I need to get stronger, especially playing in this league. There were definitely games where I would feel so fatigued and so tired that I wouldn't be able to play to the best of my ability just because I was banging down low with some of the big guys in this league, and it's a little bit different in the Big 12 compared to the Big Sky where I come from. And so definitely need to gain some weight. Talked to Coach a little bit yesterday. I was in his office, had a little meeting with him, and I think for me one of the biggest goals is just to gain some weight, get stronger, and continue on. I think the last 6 games of the season, my rebounding was probably the best all season that I've had, and so I want to continue to keep that up, keep rebounding, and I want to be able to just obviously I think with the weight gain it'll help my inside game. At Eastern Washington, that was kind of where most of my scoring and production came from, was getting buckets in the post, and so I kind of want to be able to go back to that. I think that's where I'm most comfortable, and Coach and I were talking about that too. And I think if I can gain some weight, it'll help me be able to go against some of these players in the league, and ultimately play my best basketball, and move on to the point where once we hopefully reach the NCAA tournament, we can be playing our best basketball in advance.
Definitely. I want to ask you. You mentioned Coach Moser. I want to ask you about Coach. The demeanor that we've seen from him all year is energy, energy, energy. Out here, guys. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then post game of the final game of the season, he was really subdued. He was really. I mean, he was just drained. I bet he slept well that night, except for the mental part of it. Just physically, he was drained. It really took a lot out of him. And he looked over at Mo sitting on his right, and he talked about how much he just appreciated him and this team and how much it meant to him. He was getting almost a little bit emotional. So I wanted to get you guys' reaction, thoughts, input, insight into his kind of post game and how, it really seemed to hit him hard, obviously, as much as he's invested and as emotional as he is. What was he like in the post game? And you probably bounced back the next day, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it, especially just in the talk after in the locker room after the game, it's like um, it our post game talk went from not as much basketball, like we could have done this better, we should have done this better, like why didn't we do this? It was instead of that, it was more like Ethan, Jordan, Marvin, like Mo, our seniors, like, thank you guys, like, for what you did, for our program. Like, this is Coach's first year here, and he didn't know what to expect, and so especially with a group of guys that he had kind of has to put together last minute, and so he was very grateful to them, and it's just one of those things that's like no one wants to go out, losing a game like that and have that be their last college game ever, and so he was just very understanding to them and almost kind of sorry too. It was like, I felt a little bad. It was just definitely a lot of emotions that night, especially after those guys obviously just played their last college game. And it's like, I still don't know if like reality set in that like obviously season's over and we're not waking up to go to practice every day. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell in the post game interviews as well that, it was just kind of one of those things where he's just very grateful for the guys and for coming to practice every day and kind of starting to buy into this culture thing that he has. And so it was cool for the players to definitely see just how special of a coach he is. And so it was kind of a bittersweet little ending to the season that was just the way it went out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when you got a guy like Coach, when you work as hard as Coach does, then you gotta be as tired as he was. I think that at the end of the season, that makes sense that he was drained and all this and that, because I can tell you one thing that no matter what, every single day, it didn't matter if we were playing Rogers State at the start of the year or if we were playing in an elimination game against St. Bonaventures as our last game. He was the exact same all year long in the way that he prepared for games and in the way that he coached us and the way that, he was chasing, like he wanted to win. And I could just tell that, like, the entire season, that's one thing that I have the utmost respect for him for, that is that, it didn't matter who we were playing. It didn't matter the competition. It didn't matter if it was, us going on the road playing at Texas Tech, who hasn't lost a home game in however long, or, playing, like I said, Rogers State at home. It didn't matter. The one goal was winning, and that was, his main thing. And so I respect him for that. As a competitor, obviously I want to win every game too. And, coach took that to the next level and showed me what the preparation really looks like in terms of, scouting teams and, how much energy you got to bring each day and what it takes to win. And, that's something, like I said, I respect him about that. And I mean, I'm looking forward. I'm really happy that I have another year because I gained so much, like, just knowledge and stuff from him, in terms of, leadership, in terms of, how you need to prepare yourself, in terms of the work you got to put in to win, and the teamwork that goes along with it. And so I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy I have another year because I've learned so much that I can, put into these guys next season, that I can be a leader on the court. And I'm really excited that, we get the opportunity to do it again. Cause I really think that, if this core group that we had this year, if we had gone through 4 years, with coach like a normal team does, then I have no doubt that we'd be, in the second weekend, like you see Iowa State in the second weekend, I have no doubt that we could be one of those teams right now in the Sweet 16. And so, that's obviously big goals for next year, but, I believe we can do it. And I'll tell a quick story. One of something I'll always remember that was really cool is, we were kind of, before the St. Bonaventure game, the practice was kind of winding down. We were up in our practice gym, which we just renovated. And, they've showed it on the broadcast multiple times. Coach has his culture wall where he's got all these phrases on the wall. And so we just renovated the practice gym, and coach threw up a bunch of phrases around the side of the gym so that he could reference them while we're in the middle of practice. And I remember, it was kind of getting to the end of practice. Guys are, starting to get a little loose, and coach was like talking about these phrases, one of the phrases on the wall. And then I would just remember he came up and huddled the guys on the sideline, and he said to all of us that one day, like, he said it with so much conviction in his voice, he said, one day there's going to be a banner up in this gym because of all these little things. They're going to all add up, and one day there's going to be a banner in this gym. And I believed him. I was like, man, that's cool. And then he also just talked about how, no matter what, it could be our last game, it could be our last day of practice, he's going to put everything he can into our preparation, into the games, just for these seniors. And he said, like, as long as you guys are still, like, talking to the seniors, he said, as long as you guys are still part of this program, I'm gonna put everything into it so that we can win for you guys. And so I just thought that was really cool, and just kind of goes to show, what coach has done for us all season, and just the type of preparation and work he puts in. And so I'm really excited to play for him next year, and I can't wait.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, we just earlier in the show, we were talking about the end of the season, and I said then, huge believer in Coach Moser moving forward. Seems like he's just, really got the program headed in the right direction. Excited that both you guys get to be with him for another season next year. I do want to spin it forward to next season a little bit. You guys both touched on transfer portal and, like, maybe adding guys. Obviously I'm not going to ask you to, like, speculate on guys you might add, but what does that look like for players on the team like yourselves in terms of, do you, like, give input, like guys you played before even this season, like if that guy hits the portal, we should try to get him? Does coach or any of the coaches run that stuff by you guys? What does that look like for current players on the team whenever you're adding transfers in the offseason?
Yeah, it's kind of like, and not a lot of it goes through the players. I mean, there will be, certain guys who are in the transfer portal that'll come on visits and stuff, and we'll meet them, and obviously we'll know who they are because we're pretty, we're pretty invested in college basketball in general, and so we know a lot of the guys that we're recruiting, the freshmen coming in. We know a lot about them. We know quite a bit of the guys that enter the portal that we kind of have our eyes on, and so I think that we'll definitely get a chance to meet them. But when it comes down to it, I think it's a lot of the coaching and them pretty much dealing with recruits, what they're looking for, what they think our team needs, and so not a lot of that goes through the players. I mean, the transfer portal is such a crazy thing nowadays, because it's like, I don't know the rules after COVID, but I think you still get one, free transfer obviously anywhere, without having to sit out a year. And so it's just changed college basketball so much. And so it'll be a really interesting offseason to see, what that looks like for us. And kind of like you said, maybe, if we do have any more involvement in, the guys that we're bringing in, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think Jake hit it. I think that a lot of times it's really just the coaches kind of working the transfer portal and kind of trying to get the guys that fit the culture. I think it'll be a lot more helpful, especially this year, because I'm pretty sure that the transfers will be able to visit, unlike last year with COVID and everything. And so I think that'll be helpful just in terms of coach kind of getting to meet these players, meet their families, and kind of see if these players fit his culture, and the players kind of get to see coach's energy towards the game. And I think that'll be really helpful in terms of the recruiting from the portal. And so, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see who we pick up. I think that whoever we get, they're going to be solid additions. I have faith, I have trust in the coaches, and I definitely look forward to, meeting these guys. And I'm glad, like I said earlier, I'm glad we got this core group of guys staying that can kind of take these guys in and show them the culture, and we'll be able to move forward quickly in the off season compared to last year when everyone was learning new things from coach. But now we got a group of guys that kind of knows what the deal is, and we'll be able to get these guys along quicker. And so I think that'll kind of help our success, and it'll probably be more evident to the fans and everyone that, this team is kind of clicking a little bit earlier this next year than, maybe this year we did. So that'll be a good thing for us.
So you guys aren't like Draymond Green. You're not out there on the court actively recruiting the next transfer portal guys like the free agency in the NBA. You're letting them play their team. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
Yeah, not quite like the NBA.
Hey, I can tell you this. My bracket right now it looks like I left it in some chicken coop somewhere. There's X's all over the whole thing. Like, what happened to, especially the bottom half. I think in one bracket I missed all but 2 games in the entire bracket. Like, what were you thinking? You always look back and say, what were you thinking? Why did you think that they were not going to? But the top half is pretty solid. I still got Villanova, still got Gonzaga, but my picks of Auburn and Kentucky to the Final Four. Let that be a lesson. Don't pick an SEC team to the Final Four.
Yeah, there you go.
What about you guys? Where are you standing right now? And just how much are you looking forward to the rest of March Madness?
Yeah, I haven't obviously haven't made a bracket, but I'm just kind of looking through it right now on my phone, and we got some good games. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. I'll be home tomorrow, and
got some good hoops tomorrow.
I'll be able to just sit on my couch, and obviously after I get my workout in, but I'll be able to sit on my couch all day and watch some good basketball. So I don't know. I think just looking through the bracket, I'm gonna give you guys my picks. I think that in the Elite Eight, I think Gonzaga beats Arkansas. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think Gonzaga's matchups are kind of tougher for Arkansas. So I think it's going to be Gonzaga. And then I'm going to go with the Big 12, and I'm going to say Gonzaga and Texas Tech are going to have a little rematch. And then I'm going to say I think North Carolina's been playing pretty good. Obviously, you got Brady Manick, Oklahoma guy. I think that, he's a stud. So I think North Carolina and Purdue are going to play each other. St. Peter's Cinderella run is going to end in the Sweet 16. And then on the other side, I think I'm going to go with Arizona versus Villanova. And then I'll say Kansas versus Iowa State. Do a little Big 12 rematch there. So those are just my Sweet 16 picks. But, man, I'm looking forward to seeing some great games and just watching good basketball. I think the last The first weekend of March Madness, Jake brought his TV out, and we set up our dining room table in the main room, and we literally just had two TVs back and forth, just watching games. And so, definitely excited. This is a great time, best time of the year, and I'm looking forward to watching some good basketball.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the bracket now too, and I like Tanner's picks. I like going with the Big 12 teams, and so I'm taking Tech over Duke tomorrow. I like the Zags matchup versus Arkansas. I think the Zags are incredibly hard to match up with. And that'll be, yeah, gosh, we just got some good hoops on the next couple of days. This gets me excited. It's funny, I'm gonna be living. I'll have the whole apartment to myself. I'm gonna be hanging out, watching hoops all weekend. So I like North Carolina, but I don't think they're gonna win. I think UCLA is gonna get them, even though they've been playing good. You got to take Purdue over St. Peter's. I think it's just impossible to kind of match up with Zach Edey and Jaden Ivey. Those guys are tough coverage for St. Peter's, especially. And then going Kansas, Iowa State, a little Big 12 matchup in the Elite Eight there, which will be good to see. And then I like Villanova and Arizona too. And so yeah, we got a good weekend of hoops coming up. I'm excited to see what I would love to see. Being a guy from Spokane, I'd kind of love to see a Gonzaga Arizona matchup. Just because Tommy Lloyd, who was a longtime assistant at Gonzaga, as his first year at being the head coach of Arizona, and so I'd kind of like to see that little rivalry matchup in the national championship. But I guess we'll see. I mean, both teams have been pretty dang close to getting upset, and so we'll see. I mean, a lot of teams are playing really good basketball right now, so it'll be a fun next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. My bracket is in total shambles as well. I'm the same too. If I had Auburn and Kentucky, I was maybe a little blinded by wanting Jabari Smith to play for the Thunder. So I rode with Jabari a little too far. But yeah, I'm really excited for the games this week, especially tomorrow. Like you said, the games tomorrow are that's
Oh, yeah.
a slate right
Mhm.
there. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
no
So
kidding.
obviously, as we're winding down here on our last time with you guys, just kind of the off season ahead. Just points of emphasis over the next several months going into next season. What does the off season look like for you guys in terms of what are some areas that you definitely are important? This off season. You guys have kind of touched on this a little bit already, but just overall, what the off season will look like
Mhm.
before we see you guys, on the court again in November or whenever the season opener lands.
I think for me, it's a lot of it's going to come in the weight room. Just continuing to work with Coach Dobb and just getting my body right. I mean, I think I've come a long ways, since I first got here, but I still, I feel like I still have a long way to go, especially battling and pushing around with some of the guys in the Big 12. They're just, big physical kids, and so I think just being bigger, faster, stronger is just going to, continue to help my game. Um, which will be good for me. And then, I've talked a lot with our coaching staff as well, and just coaches. And I think that me kind of stepping into a role of, kind of accepting being like just a knockdown elite shooter is something that I kind of have to get to that point. And so I'm going to spend a lot of time, working on my shot, um, and just, continuing to just try and be an elite shooter, like I said. And so that's going to be a lot of it. And then I think a lot of it just comes with, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice this off season, this spring and summer, where we, want to be spending a lot of time obviously at home or at the lake or, out on the golf course or whatever. But, in reality, if we want to reach the goals that we're kind of setting for ourselves, then there's going to have to be some sacrifice with that stuff. And so maybe we're not going to get go out and golf or go spend a weekend up at the lake. Maybe we're going to have to stay in Norman and get in the gym and lift and kind of make some sacrifices like that. And so I think this is an incredibly huge off season for me, especially just moving forward. And so I'm excited for it. Like I said, I've kind of already started the process of getting in the weight room, getting back into it, shooting every day and just getting my body used to, being back, living in, like we were this summer, just kind of getting back to getting in the gym every day, getting in the weight room every day. And, just trying to get better for next season. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, like I hit on earlier a little bit, I definitely got to gain some weight. Got a get a little bit bigger, but on the other side, I think that as I'm gaining this weight, I need to make sure that I can still become quicker and more athletic, which isn't is easier said than done, but it's possible. And I'm looking forward to the challenge this off season. Just working in the weight room, like Jake said, I'm gonna be doing the same thing and continue grooving my shot. And I think for me, a big part too is I want to become more of a leader, especially just with the team we got. And being an older guy on the team, I think, out of everyone sticking around, I'll be, probably the oldest guy. And so I'm definitely looking forward to taking a bigger role for next year and hopefully, helping lead these guys and hopefully we can make a deep run into the NCAA tournament. That's my goal is obviously to make it to the second, third weekend of March Madness. And that taste that Jake and I got last year, that's something that I will remember for the rest of my life. And I just hopefully want to build on that. And I think that with the coaching staff that we have, along with the talent we're bringing back, and the talent I think that we're going to bring in, I think that there's no doubt that we can make a deep run into March. And I'm just super excited, and that's just the only thing that I'm going to be thinking about as I'm working out is just the end goal of where we could potentially see ourselves next March. And so that's going to be a major emphasis as I'm working through this off season.
I'm a big believer, fellas. I want to just say, Tanner and Jacob, I cannot express enough how cool it's been for you guys to join us every week on the SI Sooners podcast. It's been unbelievable just getting to know you guys a little bit, getting to hang out with you here in our virtual chat room, so to speak. So I just want to say thank you, and I certainly want to say thank you as well to all our listeners and viewers over the past 7 weeks as well.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a lot of fun getting to talk with you guys and kind of share our story and just our thoughts throughout the season. And yeah, we definitely look forward to seeing y'all in the LNC next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Thank you guys for having us on. Obviously, it's been a lot of fun getting to know you guys and just kind of talking hoops every week. I mean, it's definitely fun doing that. And we love hearing from, all of our family back home and friends that always text us, listen to the podcast this week. Great job, whatever, and so that's been a lot of fun for Tanner and I and just, getting to know you guys and talking with you guys. So thank you guys for that.
Absolutely. And a special shout out to and thank you to Ben Chase and Blueprint Sports for putting us in touch with the Groves Bros. This was a great opportunity for everyone for sure. And of course, thanks as always to Trade Pros for sponsoring the Groves Bros on the SI Sooners podcast. Remember, if you need heating and air solutions, give those guys a call, 405-639-9991 for all your heating and air needs, or just go to tradepros.okc.com. And do not forget, we'll be back next Wednesday for the weekly SI Sooners podcast, as always. You can listen to that one and all the episodes of the SI Sooners podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or if you've got an Amazon-enabled device, you just tell it, Alexa, play the SI Sooners podcast. You can find it on our website, allsooners.com. Click on the player, listen on your phone, your tablet, your computer, and, of course, we simulcast the video version over on my YouTube channel, John Hoover Media. Comment, like, rate, subscribe, share. All that stuff really helps us. For Josh, for Ryan, who was with us earlier on the podcast, and, of course, for the Groves Bros, one last time, Tanner and Jacob, appreciate it. I'm John Hoover. See you guys.